Most owners think their dog freezes because it is confused or refusing to listen. The dog suddenly stops moving, stares intensely at something, and seems completely locked in place for a few seconds. That moment can feel strange because the dog almost looks paused, like something inside their brain suddenly switched modes. But what surprises many people is that freezing is often one of the most emotionally important behaviors dogs display. In many cases, the dog is not shutting down at all. The dog is thinking, assessing, and trying to decide what happens next. Dogs do not react to the world instantly the way many people assume. Before reacting physically, they often pause to process information about the environment around them. That pause can happen so quickly that owners barely notice it. Other times, the freeze becomes obvious enough that it completely changes the dog's posture and body language. Many owners first notice this behavior during ordinary situations. The dog suddenly stops during a walk, freezes when seeing something unfamiliar, or stares intensely before reacting to movement nearby. At first, people often assume the dog is being stubborn or distracted. But the freeze usually means the dog's brain is rapidly collecting information before making a decision. This behavior is deeply connected to canine survival instincts. Long before dogs became household companions, their ancestors relied on careful observation to survive dangerous or uncertain situations. Reacting too quickly could create risk. Freezing allowed them to assess movement, sounds, emotional tension, or potential threats before deciding what to do next. That instinct still exists in modern dogs today, even inside safe home environments. Some dogs freeze because they are curious. Others freeze because they feel uncertain, overstimulated, or emotionally conflicted about what they are seeing. Highly observant dogs often freeze more noticeably because they process environmental changes very intensely. This is especially common in intelligent or highly alert breeds. German Shepherds, Border Collies, Belgian Malinois, Dobermans, and many working breeds tend to pause and analyze situations before reacting. The freeze can look incredibly focused. The dog becomes still, the muscles tighten slightly, and the eyes remain locked onto whatever grabbed their attention. That moment often feels very deliberate because it is. The dog is trying to understand whether the situation matters and how it should respond emotionally. Many owners first notice this around movement. A dog sees another animal, hears an unfamiliar sound, or notices unusual behavior nearby and suddenly becomes completely still. The dog is not ignoring the owner in that moment. The brain is prioritizing environmental assessment over everything else. This is why pulling or forcing the dog forward during a freeze sometimes makes the behavior worse. The dog has not finished processing the situation emotionally yet. For some dogs, the freeze is connected to excitement. They become intensely focused before chasing, playing, or reacting to movement. For others, the freeze is connected to uncertainty or stress. The dog pauses because it does not fully understand whether something feels safe or threatening. That difference matters enormously because the emotional meaning behind the freeze changes how owners should respond. A curious freeze often looks alert but loose. The dog may appear focused while still remaining emotionally comfortable. A fear-based freeze usually looks different. The body becomes stiffer, movement slows dramatically, and the dog may appear emotionally overwhelmed or unsure. Many owners accidentally misunderstand these signals completely. They assume the dog is being stubborn, dominant, or intentionally disobedient. In reality, the dog is often struggling to emotionally process the situation happening around them. That misunderstanding can create problems very quickly. If owners respond with frustration or pressure during fear-based freezing, the dog may begin associating the environment with even more stress. Over time, this can increase anxiety and make future freezes happen more frequently. Dogs freeze because they are trying to gather information before making decisions. The behavior is often thoughtful rather than defiant. One thing that surprises many people is how emotionally aware dogs become during these moments. Dogs constantly study movement, posture, tone, and environmental changes around them. A freeze often means the dog suddenly noticed something emotionally important that humans either missed or ignored completely. This is why some dogs freeze before reacting to emotionally tense situations. Raised voices, unusual movement, unfamiliar objects, or nervous energy can instantly grab the dog's attention. The freeze becomes the dog's way of slowing everything down mentally before deciding what happens next. Highly sensitive dogs sometimes freeze more because their brains process large amounts of environmental information constantly. That mental overload can make decision-making slower when something unfamiliar appears suddenly. The dog pauses because it is emotionally sorting through multiple possibilities at once. Some intelligent dogs even appear to overthink situations before reacting. Owners often notice hesitation, prolonged staring, or delayed responses in dogs that are highly observant by nature. This does not mean the dog lacks confidence necessarily. In many cases, it means the dog is carefully processing information before committing to a reaction. Many balanced dogs naturally move through the freeze quickly once they understand the situation. The dog pauses, processes, then calmly continues forward. The problem develops when fear, overstimulation, or emotional insecurity become trapped inside the freeze itself. This is why calm leadership matters so much during these moments. Dogs often look toward their owners for emotional information about whether situations feel safe or dangerous. A calm owner helps the dog regulate emotionally. A nervous or frustrated owner often increases tension inside the dog instead. Owners sometimes forget how deeply dogs read human emotional energy. The dog constantly studies tone, movement, breathing, posture, and reactions from the people around them. That emotional awareness becomes extremely important during uncertain situations. Many experienced owners eventually learn to recognize the subtle difference between curiosity freezes and fear freezes. The body language changes slightly even when both behaviors appear similar at first glance. Curious dogs usually remain emotionally flexible. Fearful dogs often appear emotionally trapped or physically tense. Understanding that difference can completely change how owners respond. Instead of forcing movement immediately, balanced owners often allow the dog a moment to process the environment calmly before encouraging forward movement again. That small change creates far less emotional pressure inside the dog. Mental stimulation, confidence building, calm socialization, and emotional stability all help reduce unhealthy freezing behaviors over time. Dogs that feel secure emotionally usually process unfamiliar situations far more smoothly. That does not mean freezing disappears completely. In many ways, the freeze is a normal and intelligent canine behavior. It is part of how dogs gather information about the world around them. The pause itself is not the problem. The emotional meaning behind it matters far more. Once owners understand this, many begin seeing their dog differently. The freeze stops looking like stubbornness and starts looking like communication. And over time, many people realize their dog is not simply stopping before reacting at all. The dog is thinking carefully before deciding how to respond to the world around them.